Why is welterweight perhaps the most brutal and complete weight class in boxing history? Why this division in particular, where technique alone isn't enough and raw power never suffices? What truly makes a welterweight immortal? Titles, records, or the way they control opponents? And why do these names in particular continue to spark endless debates among boxing fans to this day? Stay tuned, because this list begins with a name that is still debated more than almost any other. Top 1. Floyd Mayweather Jr. With an undefeated record of 49-0, later officially 50-0, this list starts with a man who shaped modern boxing like few others. Floyd Mayweather Jr. wasn't a fighter who relied on brute force, but on control, precision, and a defense that drove opponents to despair. Many accuse him of not always facing the strongest versions of his opponents. But in boxing, one simple truth holds. You can only beat the men who stand before you in your own era. Mayweather wasn't just brilliant defensively. He knew exactly when to open up. Whether against corrales or in moments when a fight threatened to turn, he could switch gears at any time. His ability to read punches, land counters at the right moment, and steal rounds made him unique. Even if some victories against big names came late in their careers, the consistency of his dominance remains undeniable. Not a single official blemish, not a single lost fight. The question remains, is perfection in one's own era enough to be counted among the greatest of all time? Top 2. Jack Britton. Jack Britton is a name that forces every boxing fan to pause and redefine what true greatness means in boxing. Officially, he has over 100 wins, but that number tells only a small part of the truth. If you add in the so-called newspaper decisions, which were real fights not officially scored at the time, Britton's record climbs to well over 230 wins. This is no coincidence. It's a reflection of a merciless era where boxers fought almost non-stop to survive and stay relevant. Britton wasn't a spectacular showman. His strength lay in technique, toughness, and an extraordinary ability to adapt to any opponent. Win, lose, or draw, he always entered the ring with the same mental fortitude. It was precisely this consistency that made him a welterweight world champion at a time when recovery was a luxury. His career poses a crucial question. Is there even a boxer today who would be physically and mentally capable of competing at that level over hundreds of fights? Top 3. Ted Kid Lewis. Ted Kid Lewis exemplifies an era where boxing was defined less by marketing and more by survival. With over 230 documented wins, plus dozens of losses and draws, his career embodies an epoch where fighters were constantly in the ring. If you include the newspaper decisions here as well, his fight record grows to a dimension that seems almost unimaginable today. But numbers alone don't explain why Lewis is still considered one of the greatest welterweights. Lewis wasn't purely a puncher. He was an intelligent, tactically disciplined boxer. He understood how to control pace, read distances, and slowly wear down opponents. His punching power was sufficient, but his true strength lay in his endurance and mental stability. In an era without modern training methods or medical care, he consistently remained at a world-class level. That's precisely what makes him great. The crucial question is a boxer like Ted Kid Lewis underestimated today simply because his time is so far in the past and his fights weren't recorded on video? Top 4. Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard embodies a special kind of greatness that isn't defined by numbers alone. His professional record seems almost modest compared to earlier generations, but that's precisely where his story begins. Interrupted careers, a temporary retirement, and serious eye surgery would have permanently driven many boxers out of the sport. Leonard, however, came back and proved that true class doesn't disappear. Olympic gold in 1976, as part of one of the strongest U.S. Olympic teams of all time, and world titles in multiple weight classes speak for themselves. In the welterweight division, Leonard was a perfect blend of speed, intelligence, and explosiveness. He could box, counter, apply pressure, and read fights like a chess match. His greatness lay not only in talent, but in his adaptability. Every comeback fight was a risk, every return a new test. Nevertheless, he faced the best of his era and won at the highest level. The question remains, isn't it precisely this ability to keep coming back and still win that makes a boxer immortal? Top 5? Kid Gavilan. Kid Gavilan reminds us that boxing history would be incomplete without the Cuban masters. With over 100 wins, numerous title fights, and the welterweight world title, he embodied an elegance that was both effective and ruthless. He is often credited with the famous bolo punch. Whether he actually invented it is still debated today. What's crucial, however, is that Gavilan perfected this punch and made it globally famous. He was the man who turned technique into a trademark. Gavilan's style was fluid, rhythmic, and hard to read. He moved with natural ease, feinted, changed angles, and made opponents punch at air. His punching power was respectable, but his true strength lay in timing and a sense of distance. As a welterweight world champion, he proved that intelligence in the ring can be just as deadly as raw power. His career poses a central question. Is technical brilliance appreciated enough today? Or do we only remember knockouts? Top 6. Barney Ross. Barney Ross is a name that cannot simply be overlooked when discussing true greatness in the welterweight division. His career symbolizes discipline, toughness, and mental strength that extended far beyond the ring. With more than 70 wins and multiple world titles in different weight classes, Ross proved that he possessed not only talent, but also exceptional adaptability. In the welterweight division, he was a fighter who applied constant pressure and systematically dismantled his opponents. Ross was not a boxer of spectacular gestures. His fights thrived on precision, conditioning, and relentless forward momentum. He understood how to dictate the pace and shift the fight to where his opponent felt uncomfortable. This very ability made him so dangerous. He won titles not by chance, but through hard work and iron self-control. His story raises an important question. How many modern boxers could endure under similar conditions without modern training centers, without medical coverage, only with will and fighting spirit? Top 7. Jose Napoles. Jose Napoles was the embodiment of calm and control in the welterweight division. His nickname, Mantequilla, which means butter, was no accident. Everything about his boxing style seemed soft, fluid, and effortless, yet behind this elegance lay enormous punching power. With over 80 wins and more than 50 knockouts, Napoles showed that technical perfection and punching power don't have to be mutually exclusive. As a multi-time welterweight world champion, he dominated opponents without ever appearing rushed. Napoles wasn't a man of many words, but of precise actions. He read fights early, moved efficiently, and struck exactly when his opponent showed the slightest opening. His defense was calm, almost inconspicuous, yet extremely effective. Many opponents looked perplexed in the ring because they couldn't find a rhythm against him. His greatness lay precisely in this apparent simplicity. The crucial question is, isn't a boxer who makes everything look effortless often more dangerous than one who constantly pushes himself to his limits? 7 names, 7 eras, and 7 completely different paths to greatness. From the perfect control boxer to the relentless workhorse, this list shows why welterweight is often considered the most complete weight class in boxing history. But this is precisely where the biggest debate arises. By what standards do we truly evaluate greatness? By numbers, by titles, or by the impression a boxer left in the ring? If you enjoyed this journey through welterweight history, support the channel with a like, subscribe for more legendary top lists, and write in the comments which welterweight you personally would rank higher or lower.